Good evening, my fellow fans of the stock market. How are you guys doing? How is everything going? What a fantastic week this was. And I specifically, of course, am referring to the market. Obviously, we might have had a bad week. I am specifically talking about all of the movement that we had. Wow. It was a pretty crazy week. So we have a lot to talk about tonight, actually. I have an overview. I'm going to quickly highlight it. I've been tweeting it out. Last day or two, I put together an outline so everybody could see, what we had sort of planned. I'm going to start doing this every week so we can, you can kind of see in advance what, what we're going to be talking about and going over and things like that. Plus, this will also help me to keep on track. The first thing I want to say, though, is if you follow me on social media, you know that I've talked about this a lot. The last basically the last 30 days, we have gained almost 1,800 followers in 30 days. We have literally reached millions of people. And I am just lost for words. I am just entirely blown away by the support and the goal with what I do. If you know me, I am an educator. I am a teacher at heart. I enjoy to help other people. I enjoy to coach and mentor, and my biggest thing that I like is when I see somebody get it, like when it clicks for them, when they finally start to understand it, they can apply it to their trading, and it changes the course of their trading career. And so, just a huge thank you again. The support that I've had over the last couple of months has just been unreal. The community here at Benzinga, the community with the other with Unusual Whales, with the other the Discord channels. There's just so many different people that I have to thank, and I'm just a guy that trades in my basement, and things have just sort of worked out for me over the last couple of years. And never in a million years did I think that we would be doing this on such an amazing platform with Benzinga. So I just wanted to mention that first. I've been meaning to say, personally, thank you at the beginning of the show and stuff like that. And, last week was last week our first week back, or there was the week before? I think it was the week before. Either way, but there's just been so much stuff going on, and I put it on my outline today. So I wanted to make sure that I added that as well. And there's one other thing I want to do. I got to do a little pitch. I'm not really, you guys know me. I'm not really, I don't really do this too often. I post on social media. I have plenty of referrals available if you are interested in trying Benzinga. Now, let me just say, I use Benzinga Pro. I use it not because I am a contributor on Benzinga. I used it before I started contributing to Benzinga, and I love it. Okay, I have a few pieces of software that I would not give up, and Benzinga Pro is one of them. For my trading style, my go-to with Benzinga Pro is news. There is nobody faster with news alerts unless you have like a Bloomberg terminal, and find out how much a Bloomberg terminal costs, and then we can talk. I mean, it's $20,000-$30,000 a year. You're renting a space, basically. You're plugged directly into the New York Stock Exchange, is kind of how it is. This is the best news alert system available for a retail trader, hands down. There are so many features involved with it past news. There are plenty of different things that you can do on the platform. My personal favorite is the news feed that you can customize. You could do it by watch list. You could do it by category. You could do it by whatever you want. And then the Benzinga squawk, the squawk that plays all day long, literally in my basement. It is just squawking news all day long. I absolutely love it. Again, I am a huge fan of this software. I'm going to drop a link in the chat. Okay. If you are interested, there's no commitment required, no credit card, anything like that. Literally, I'm not trying to push some, you got to sign on the dotted line. I'll give you 2 weeks for free. No questions asked. If you do sign up for the referral, send me a message, let me know, and I will personally help you set it up for free. I will show you my layouts. I'll give you some tips and tricks and stuff like that. I'll get you up and running because there is a lot of data on there. It can be a little bit overwhelming. So just wanted to put that out there in case you guys are interested in that. It's 2 weeks free. I mean, really, if you try it for 2 weeks, you will enjoy it for the 2 weeks. I will 100% guarantee it. you will enjoy the platform. Trey's Subway, is this the real Trey's Subway Cup, or are you like a copier? Yes, I have my own channel. Basically, you can find all of my links. Let me put my website in the chat here. You can find all of my links at tradinggrounds.live. I am most active on Twitter and Discord. I also have a YouTube channel. I have a Twitch channel. I live stream during market hours. I also do some other videos and things like that. I am in the process of doing some in-depth series on platform reviews and stuff like that. Tradinggrounds.live is my website. Again, there's plenty of links on there. There is a Discord invite if you are interested. We have a free Discord. It's literally free. There's no paid courses. There's no paid private rooms, nothing like that. It's just a large community of people that are interested in trading and helping others to learn how to trade. We won't ever make fun of you for asking questions. We will help you. We will be there with you, but we're not an alert service. We're not a, our goal is not to tell you like, hey, here's your entry. We want to teach you, like, we want to teach you what you need to look for in order to enter. Okay. That is our goal in the Discord. I'm happy to mentor anybody one-on-one personally. We could talk about that later in the show, but tradinggrounds.live is my website. That's where you can access all my social media. You can access any way to connect with me. I'm happy to help at any time of the day. Please reach out. I would absolutely love. I'd be honored. It's my honor to help you. I mean that, and I don't mean that in any sort of like cheesy way. When people ask me for help, it literally is truly an honor, and so I'm happy to do any help that I can. So let me go over really quick our outline of what we're going to talk about tonight, in case you did not see the post. So what I want to do first is I want to go over some of the big movers, some of the big contract movers, some of the big trades. We're going to pull up the volume and see what, according to bar chart, what the bigger contracts were, because there was a lot of volume this week on some stuff. There was a lot of volume on big names. We had a little meme frenzy the other day. That was pretty crazy. AQST, everybody's asking about AQST because they are, because of sport doing its thing. We're going to talk about sport in a minute. AQST, we talked about last week. If you weren't here, we began talking about it. And thank you, Laura. I really appreciate that kind word. We began talking about AQST. If somebody wants to, while I am doing this, if somebody wants to go to FinViz or another short interest site, and if you can get me the data of what the short float is, we can talk about AQST in a little bit. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I think I looked earlier. I did not write them down. However, with SPRT doing, just crazy. I'm really excited to talk about that stock. That was a GameStop-like movement. I'll just put it out there. That was a GameStop-like movement. That was pretty cool to see. So GameStop was one of the big ones. All the meme stocks the other day. I mean, even at one point, I had a 6 chart pulled up where I had Cost and I had BlackBerry and I had, I even had AMC and GameStop, and I had what was the other two? I had NACD and I had Express. I had 6 charts of all the memes. I was watching them. It was pretty crazy. It was pretty crazy. The volume, they were all moving in unison, like they have before, and we had a little bit of a movement for a brief period, kind of settled down a little bit more. AMD, NVIDIA, and then especially Sport, those sort of stole the show. Those were, you had plenty of opportunities this week to make money, like plenty. I don't mean to say that like if you were down this week. I'm not saying that's like a negative thing or anything like that. I didn't have like a record-breaking week or anything like that, so I'm not trying to imply. I'm just saying that the setups were there. Okay, and one thing I think that you have to realize is this is depending on where you are in your journey as a trader. Let's say that you're a newer trader. Most new traders start out with the penny stocks. They start out with the lower priced stocks. Most people do that. I did it, and then we sort of move on to other things and other things and other things and other things. What happens though is you need to do that because pennies and small caps and stuff like that are not always running, especially when you get hooked on these biotech stocks and you're waiting for FDA approvals and stuff like that. Your stocks aren't moving. You need to learn how to play other sectors, especially you need to learn how to play the big boys. Okay. And that's what we talk about a lot. If you're new to the show, let me just say this real quick. I am a full-time options trader. I do not trade commons. I do not trade commons. I only trade options. I haven't traded a common in it's been a really long time. I have progressed a couple of different trading strategies and systems and things like that. And I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 8 months, maybe the beginning of this year, I decided that I was putting all of my effort into learning about options. Things started to work out. It was a lot smoother for me. I fell in love with it. I love everything about options. And so we talk about options on this show. Okay. So if you put a ticker in the chat and it doesn't have an option chain, I'm not going to be able to give you much help with it. I'm happy to pull the chart up and show it to you. But outside of that, we are an options show. Now, again, I always try to give information that applies to a trader, period. Not just an options trader, not just a commons trader. It is applicable for all types of traders. But what we focus on, the meat of the show, we talk about option stuff. So just to let you know, somebody asked, did it take you long before getting profitable consistent? That's always a tough question to answer. I sort of have, just to give you a real quick background on my trading journey and stuff like that. I started January of 2020, and I've been full-time since then. I have studied the markets for, 10 years, going back to probably 2010, actually, no, 11 years. 2010, when I started learning about Forex, and I always had an interest in the market. And years went on, careers changed, and I'll leave all the details out about that. But I basically got to the point to where I was going to take trading seriously more than anything I've ever done. Put my foot down. I was committed. I studied. I did everything that I could. And when I started in January, I basically was able to maintain consistent profits, not millions of dollars. I like to always tell people that, because I want you guys to understand I am not a millionaire. Okay. The reason why I am a full-time trader is so I can spend time with my family, so I can take a day off if I need to take a day off. I don't like having a boss. I especially don't like having to get dressed up and go into work. This system fits me perfectly for a myriad of reasons. Now, do I have goals of having $1 million years and making huge profits? Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. But my driving force for trading is not money. Okay. And I know that might sound weird, but it's truthfully not. My driving force for trading is if I trade good, the money follows, plain and simple. But the reason why I put so much effort into trading is because I can support my family. I can be home with my family. My wife and I have a 10-month-old, and we can, like our schedules work really well. It's just, so when I first started trading, it literally was life-changing. And I mean that sincerely. It was something that changed internally in me. And it became so clear that this was what I was supposed to do. Worked hard. I still, this is an ongoing process. It's a marathon. So if you are a newer trader, listen, you're not going to get it overnight. You shouldn't try to get it overnight. Like, you need to focus, and you need to work hard, and you need to study, and you need to commit yourself. Like, listen, like, just because the market's closed, like, your job is not done. Like, you actually need to work harder on the weekends. I was saying that Monday money is made on Saturdays and Sundays. When you are sitting down at your desk on a Monday morning, you should already know what you're doing. You shouldn't be sitting there going, oh, I don't know what I'm going to play today, blah, 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 blah. Your weekend should be spent building your watch lists. Your weekend should be spent preparing mentally, physically, taking a break, getting away from the screens and everything like that. But when Monday morning comes, you have to be ready. And there's a lot of things involved with trading other than just pressing a button and buying and selling. There's a lot more things involved with it. It's a mental, it's just extenuatingly tough mentally. I don't even know if I said that correctly, but that just emphasizes how strong it is on your mental. That's something that traders leave out. So, over the course of almost 2 years now, I thankfully have been profitable. I've been able to, again, like I said, profitable is, I'm not going to go over my numbers and stuff like that. I'm able to do it full time. I'll just leave it at that. But it's literally the greatest thing that I've ever done in my life. And it's just really cool that it's worked out, and things have had a chance to progress and to get better. So, Humbled Megan, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you guys here at the community so much. You guys are amazing. You guys are seriously the best community around. Lorena says she's new here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate that. Would love your charts per tease on FRPT. We're going to get to that here in We'll get, what do I got to do? I got like 4 tickers I want to look at first. So when we get back around to that, drop that again in the chat. If you have tickers or something, again, like I said, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. I'll try to get over them. Everybody wants to do AQST. What we'll do is at the end of the show, like we did the last time, I promise you guys, because I love you so much, we will go over AQST. I still don't know anything about the stock, but we will go over it. I promise. We'll do that at the end of the show. Somebody has the responsibility of reminding me. Also, we're always the last show on Friday, so if we run a little bit over past 6, it's not a problem. So we'll get to AQST. So again, the big movers for this week, the Gamestop calls. Let me find where did I have it pulled up? Gamestop calls. Where's my one? Okay, so the first example, the August 24th Gamestop 8, or I'm sorry, it was on August 24th. That was when they had the big, the memes were really running. GameStop, let me pull up the chart. August 24th. Okay, August 24th is right here. Okay, so GameStop, this was when the move happened. 24th right here. Here's open, okay? So we went from 9:30 to right there. That green line shows you the move, okay? The 827 220 call opened at 47 cents. Okay. Actually, I'm not even going to tell you. Let's do this. The 827 220 call. I'm going to pull the chart over. Just to let you know, I use Tastyworks for my broker. They're the best options platform, in my opinion. We need to go back 5 days. Okay, so that was the 24th. The 24th at open, that contract was 47 cents it opened at. Do you know what its peak was? Anybody want to take a guess? Anybody want to take a guess? The next morning, it hit a high of 21.50. 21.50. Okay. So if you enter now, first of all, let's be honest with each other. Nobody's holding from 47 cents to 21.50. You're lying to yourself if you're telling yourself that you were going to hold that long. Ain't going to happen. Okay. But just like hypothetically speaking, let's say that you bought 10 of those contracts, because any contract under $1, you need to buy more than one. So let's say that you bought 10 of these contracts at $47, and the contract went to 21.50. Okay, that I'm not good at math, so I'm cheating. So 21.50 minus 0.47 is 21.03. That was your movement on your contract, and don't forget it's times 100. So you're off one contract. If you had one contract, you made $2,103. Okay. Now, everything lining up perfectly. Like I said, we're being real with one another. The chances of you holding for that low to that high is rare. Okay. Maybe I'm just speaking because I'm out at like 30%. I'm not holding that long. There's no way in the world I'm holding that long. But what I'm trying to show you, and why we talk about these big movers, is because I like to show what is there. Okay, what is available as far as options trading and the moves that can happen, and why you need to understand. We're going to talk about at the end of the show. We're going to talk about certain option terms. Why you need to understand what's called implied volatility. GameStop has one of the higher IVs that most stocks. Now, this one was 460%. Okay. 460% was the implied volatility. The implied volatility is basically percentage of a chance the stock has to shoot really high or really low. GameStop had a 460% IV. So what happens is two things. Number one, your contract spikes like crazy, and we see that. And even another one, the 827 330 strike. Now 330 is like so far out of the money. Okay. The 330 strike was 15 cents, 12:54 p.m. Okay, on August 24th. Within a couple hours, it had ran to 9:35. Okay, look at this. The 3:30 strike, and there was even today there was 1.84 thousand. These people buying these contracts are unbelievable. There's your spike right there. Okay, there's your big spike. So 12:54, let's call it 12:50, 17 cents. I have it marked at. Okay, its peak 661. Why did I have 935? What did I do? So I have a different contract. I'm gonna have a different contract. Either way, so it ran from 15 cents to 662. Again, if you bought a contract for 15 cents, if I bought a contract for 15 cents, the minimum I'm buying is 20. Okay, so do the math. Again, I'm not trying to say that like these things are normal. Every week, I always tell you guys this is not the norm, especially with stocks like GameStop, especially with stocks like SPRT. We're going to talk about it in a little bit, especially with the AMCs and all the other things. All these stocks that have high implied volatilities, this is not the norm. Okay, your option running for this much amount of time or money is rare. It is not normal. Don't become an options trader just because you think you're going to hit these out of the park every single time. The chances are you are not. The chances are you are going to miss it. The chances are you're going to buy really low. And what's going to happen is the contract's going to go against you. So you're going to cut your loss. And then within moments, it's going to spike and you're going to just be furious at yourself that you missed out on a game like this. Again, I show this stuff because I want you guys to understand what an option contract can do. Okay. Now with implied volatility, again, you have to see the price was 662. There was people that were buying at the top here. This is the top of this contract, 662. And as of today, it expired, you know, obviously worthless, but I mean, it went down into the, you know, 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s. So, I mean, there's also the people that are doing the opposite. They're buying at the peak because they think, well, GameStop's, you know, it doesn't stop, it runs forever. And so they buy at the top. And then what happens? I mean, you're out that premium. And that's bad. So again, you have to remember that if a stock has high implied volatility, it's got a high implied volatility to spike or to drop. Keep that in mind. So that was GameStop. Again, GameStop was a big run. It was awesome to see. I am not in the meme stocks anymore. Back when that first started happening, I scalped contracts like literally crazy. I mean, I have never been so focused in on contracts during that time. I haven't played them since. Okay, I have my own opinions of them. I will keep them to myself. Just know that I did not play any of these meme stocks this past week. I did play Express, but Express was a different way I played it because they had earnings and I played some of that sector. However, I did not play GameStop. I did not play AMC. Sorry, guys. Jojo the Rabbit says, what is the best resource to learn options? That is a very large question to answer. What I would recommend, number one, is to narrow down what you want to start learning about, okay? With options trading, the first thing that I always suggest people to do, we're actually going to talk about it here in a little bit, learn the terms, okay? Learn what in the money means. Learn what at the money means. Learn what a strike price is. Learn what premiums are. Learn what the Greeks mean. Learn and learn and learn and learn and learn about the terms of options trading. Because that's the thing that I think I see more times than not is people claim to be options traders, but they have no idea what any of these terms mean. Now, I'm not talking about like you have to be like a PhD expert in options. Like obviously that's you know not required. However, you need to understand that behind the scenes with options, it's not just as simple with buying a call and then the stock goes up and the call automatically goes up too. Generally, if the stock is running pretty good, the contract's going to pull with it. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that are also affecting that price, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. So I would say the best resource to learn options, man, you can go, if you were to go to Investopedia, Investopedia is probably like the #1 site to learn more about like just investing and trading in general. I will plug myself. I have numerous training videos. I have all kinds of stuff on my social media. I'm happy to personally answer any questions. If you're interested in reading, I can give you some books that I really enjoy, books that I reference a lot. But the first thing to do, you need to actually, like, even before you become an options trader, you need to have a basic understanding of stocks and charts and technical analysis and things like that before you jump into learning about options, because it's a whole entire different world. So, all right. So that was the GameStop contracts. The other one was AMD. Let me show you. I want to show you on the, where's my AMD picture? Okay. So one of the big movers on AMD was the, thanks, A Father. Look at that. We got a little super chat. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Let me pull up some AMD. AMD was my big move today. I don't know if you saw I posted on Twitter. I scalped like 5 different contracts, like 25 different times. I had a lot of fun with it. I Fridays, just to let you know, my strategy throughout the week. I am an options scalper, and basically that is just a way of saying that I am a quicker day trader. Scalping contracts, you're in and out with 10 to 30% profit. That's at least my number. And I do it multiple times per day, so I'm trading a lot. I typically am a scalper of options. I also do, we want to see Apple again. We've been talking about Apple all day in the Discord, I swear. I primarily scalp. And again, sometimes I'm in a contract for 15 seconds. Sometimes I'm in it for 5 minutes, but I am a scalper. So that's what I did today with AMD. The big one that I wanted to show you guys was the, what contract is this? 21,827. Is this the 109? Yeah, the 109. Okay, so this was another big mover here. All right, so this contract opened at 26 cents today and finished at 237. That's a heck of a move. That's a really, really impressive move. Especially this line right here, okay? At 950, it was at 52 cents. 20 minutes later, it was at $1.95. Okay. So just in that short amount of time, that 20 minutes, that contract ran that much. So AMD was another one of the big ones. AMD had a ton of volume today. Ton. Okay. The 110 call had 89,000 volume. The 111 had 94. The 112 had 85. The 109 had 46. I mean, the volume was just unreal. AMD actually, it's been running for a couple of days. This is actually a good question, VS. How do you find these things before they run? I get asked that question a lot. Okay. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't always like figure it out or anything like that. However, basically what I do is I am actually, Roberto just said it. He said Unusual Whales is good for alerts. Unusual Whales is my main platform for options. Okay. It is basically it is a flow and alert system. And what I do, and I'm actually going to, I have a whole overview of how I actually do options trading. Okay. So let me pause VS. And we will talk about how I attempt to find these things before they run. I'm not perfect. And I'll actually even be honest with you guys. Okay. Here, let me, let's do this. Let me show you guys one thing, because I always like to be transparent. And I always like to show that I'm not always like perfect. So here's what happened with SPRT. Okay. This is my, where are my charts? This is my trading view charts. Okay. So on August 25th, I charted SPRT. It was at 13.79. I said following volume and waiting for the $14 break. Okay. What happened? Let me press play. That's what happened. You can see the movement. I mean, again, I was playing the trend line. The trend line was there. I knew as soon as it broke that trend line, it was gone. What happened? It was gone. Missed it. I missed the play. I don't, like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm never going to say that I get every play. I'm never going to say that like I know all these plays in advance too. I saw the flow from SPRT on the 24th and then into the 25th. I saw that the flow was here. Actually, let me just do this. I saw the flow was really, really impressive as far as just to let you know, this is Unusual Whales. This is one of the overviews. This is the historical flow of calls and things like that, basically showing you volume by day and things like that. So on last Friday, let's see here. Last Friday, the 20th, there was 100,000 volume calls, 17,000 in puts. Basically, you know, 100 and let's call it 118,000. Today, there was 359,000 calls. There was 228,000 puts. Yesterday, there was 387,000, 231,000. Okay, so number one, like this didn't the spike didn't happen on sport until, I mean, you know, like really, I don't want to say like today was the big move, but I do want to show you guys one thing. So like if we go back to the open on the 26th, that opened at about 1373. Then I want to show you guys this real quick. This is this bottom indicator right here that you guys can see on the screen. This is a buy sell. This indicator right here is my advanced volume indicator. This is RSI. And then the other lines are support and resistance. And this over here is volume profile. I am big in price action and volume. That's my main focus. So what was interesting was this morning at, gosh, was it even 8 o'clock? It was 8 o'clock. Okay. At 8 a.m. this morning, when, you know, more brokers opened up, they had 2.12 million of buy volume. Okay. So you can see this candle here. The move was from 28.74 to 36 and change. The next candle was 35.47 to the wick of 49.15 at 8:15 in the morning. Okay. 8:15 in the morning, it ran from $35 to $49. They are 15-minute candles. I could turn the 5 minutes on if you guys want to see them, but the 15 minutes was what I was monitoring with for positions. But another thing I want to show you guys is this green candle here. This is showing buy volume, 3.532 million in buy volume. Okay, so people were buying 3.5 million shares of this stock in the range of $35 to $49 at 8:15 in the morning. The market's not even open. Then the next candle here was a little bit of a sell-off, but it was 44.85 is what it closed. It actually peaked all the way up to 55, and that's when I thought things were about to get real nasty. And then we had some bigger candles here after market open. About noon, we had a 6 million sell or a buy candle. Then the next candle after that was even bigger. It was 7.5. That one went from 47 all the way up to 58. But I mean, the move on this thing, I mean, just look at, that's just such, I mean, it's just unbelievable. It is just such a good looking chart. I just love like good looking charts. And this, man, this was a good looking chart. But as you can see, again, you know, you almost have a double top here. This little area right here, it's bounced off it's got a good support area right here, you know, in the $25 range. I don't know my thoughts on this right now. Everybody is trying to make this out to be like the next short squeeze. I will be honest though, the move that it made from, you know, down here earlier in the week. I mean, even gosh, like let's do this. Let's go back to Friday. What was it at on Friday? It was at 8:51 on Friday. So even from, you know, from 8:51 to a high of 59 in a week, that's I mean, obviously it's not, you know, the same exact thing as GameStop, but they had all the calls were in the money. I really thought when we got that much volume pre-market, I really thought something intense was going to happen. I thought it was going to squeeze like crazy. I mean, it was jumping dollars and dollars. I mean, it was just jumping over and over and over and over. It was crazy. And that was pre-market. So SPRT, no position. I don't, yeah, somebody just said, I don't think it's another GME or AMC. I agree. I don't think we're, you know, this is one of those things that's not going to be lingering around for a while. I agree. I think it had its run. It might get one more push, maybe two. But again, I am probably staying away from this. Let it settle down. I might take a short position, a put. When I say short position, I always mean put, just to let you know. When I say call, or when I say long, I mean call. So just to let you know. Can you look at BBIG and see what you think? Yeah, I actually have that coming up next. I will get to that. Rogeria is here. Nice to see you. She's also one of the members of the Discord. With all the ups and downs of the stock market at the moment, is it possible that even the best indicators can lead a beginner trader to unsuccessful trades? 1,000,000%. You know what I actually do with new traders is I actually tell them to turn everything off on their chart except for volume. That's become, I was actually talking to Neil the other day about this. I used to be a really big moving average guy. I used to trade, I still use the 8 and 21 EMAs, but it's not part of my entry strategy any longer. I used to use a crossover system. When the 8 would cross up the 21, I would, that was an entry signal for me. I no longer do that. Okay. The problem I think right now with a lot of traders is they are so focused. I am guilty of this too. Don't get me wrong. I am guilty of this too. But a lot of traders, especially new traders, they're wanting to find that one holy grail indicator that's going to tell them everything. And you have to remember that anything outside of price action and volume is basically a lagging indicator. Okay. The moving averages are lagging. Like the RSI, it tries to, I mean, again, I have the RSI on. I don't even really know why I have it on, to be honest. I just like to kind of get a little bit, like, I like to have one thing because I rely so heavily on volume and support and resistance. That's my strategy. So I was talking to Neil the other day, and I basically explained that right now, stocks are not really respecting indicators as much as they have in the past, because there are so many people that aren't using indicators effectively, or they're using them improperly, or they're using them, they have too many and they're just getting all these canceled signals out. Because you have to remember that, like, if you use a bunch of indicators, a lot of these things are going to cancel each other out. Like, one will tell you a signal, the other one's going to tell you a signal, you're going to get confused. I always like to tell new traders, turn everything off on your chart, just turn volume on. That's the best advice that I ever received. Start to learn how to find support and resistance. Literally learning support and resistance will change your trading like you cannot even imagine. It's better than any indicator. It's better than any other strategy. Learning support and resistance with volume, because again, I think volume and price action are the two most important traits that a trader needs to know. Price action, I mean, like, you need to be able to watch tape. You need to be able to spot big orders. You need to be able to see the candles and understand what they're doing and things like that. But volume is most important. That's my motto of trading, is I go where the volume is going. I'm not trying to go against the grain. I'm not trying to, do anything crazy where it's going to put me in a position where I'm up against all of this volume and I'm on the wrong side. It's not what I do. Michael, what's up, brother? We are doing much better. Thank you so much for asking. We are basically about 100% again. I don't really know if we're ever 100%, but we're there. Another question. So you always start looking at stocks, options after alerts, then TA and so on before making the watch list? No, my watch list is typically made first. Every weekend I make a watch list. My watch list is generally the same pool of stocks. Okay. I have, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I have to pause real quick because somebody just put it up here and I got to put it up on the screen as soon as it pops up. Okay. AMC, The Complete Guide to Volume Price Analysis by Anna Cooling. The book helps me a lot, but I still have a lot to learn. Where is it actually? Oh, it's over there. I can't get it. That's my favorite book. Okay. Like, listen, like, if there's one book that you read, this Complete Guide to Volume Price Analysis by Anna Cooling, you have to read that book. Okay. Like, just have to read that book. There's even free PDFs. If you don't want to buy the book, I think you should buy the book because you can interact and mark it up and stuff like that. That book's fantastic. I think, honestly, it's a required read if you're going to become a trader. It is fantastic. So yeah, I sorry, I had to jump over to that real quick. My watch lists are made. I have a pool of stocks that I play from. I really don't add, because I'm not like, I'm not running as many scans as I used to. So I'm not like, like I'm not trying to find new stocks. I have a I have a master watch list, and then I have a high options volume watch list. I have I have certain watch lists, like if I'm watching certain stocks on a 10-minute chart for a trigger or 15 minutes. I am I'm making my watch list in advance. And so that's another part of what I'm going to talk about here in a second with my unusual. Actually, let's just go into that now, because I think that was the next thing that I wanted to talk about. And it's already 5:40, and this section is the long section. Yeah. Okay. So basically what we're going to do here, I want to kind of explain to answer this question. So you always start looking at stocks, options, after alerts, then TA, and so on before making the watch list. Let's talk about that for a little bit. So here's how I trade. Okay. I am I'm an options trader only. And so my main focus on options is the overall options flow. I am watching, do I have it pulled up? I am watching I use Unusual Whales and I use Benzinga Pro. Okay. So with Unusual Whales, my number one thing that I am watching is this right here. Okay. This is what's called the flow. This is the overall list of options orders that have placed throughout the day. Okay. Now you're probably thinking, holy crap, that's a lot of data. And it is. Okay. However, the good thing with this is there are filters, and I'm not going to go into filters and stuff like that, because that's a lot of different discussions and things like that. There are filters that you can use. Okay. So basically with what I do, I turn off all of the indices. I'm not interested in finding out about, VIX options and SPXWs and SPX and things. I turn all of that off. So I don't see any of that. Okay. So then what I see basically, I am literally watching the flow all day long. Okay. I have one monitor that has the flow, and I have all of my filters set up, which I'll talk about in a second. And then the other one that I have open is what's called the whale alerts. Okay. Now with the whale alerts, this is a little bit more, it's not as frequent as the flow. And with these orders, these are the ones that you are seeing a huge spike in volume. You are seeing, basically, just to kind of give you a quick overview of how you determine if it's an unusual volume on an options contract, the volume compared to the open interest. Okay. So like, for example, this stock right here, TNA, the $98 call for 910, it had a 13 open interest. Okay. The day before. Open interest is the prior day. It doesn't update until the end of the day. So it's always a day behind. Volume is in real time. This order was for 1,523 contracts compared to 13 total yesterday. That is an alert that you need to pay attention to. Something is going on there. Okay. So on the whale alerts page, these are the alerts that are a little bit more specific. These are the ones that are coming in a little bit less frequent. Okay. What I also do then on this page is I have my own watch list set up. So what I do is I have a couple of different charts I have a couple of different lists that I like to focus in like more in depth on. Number one, I love to play less than 7 day to expiration contracts. Okay. Anything that's less than 7 days typically sets up as a scalp for me, or maybe a day trade, maybe a swing overnight. But most of the time, if I'm playing weeklies that are expiring the same week, I am scalping them. I might play it 10 times throughout the day, but I ain't holding it overnight. I certainly ain't holding it through the weekend. Okay. Sorry, just put my shirt down. The 7 day to expirations is something that I really enjoy to play. I like to see that flow coming in. So that's one of my filters. I only want to see 7 day to expiration options. Then I have a filter for 20 to 40 days. Okay. My typical swing area is around the 20 to 40 day. I am not a leap player. I don't concern myself with really far away options. I am, again, I'm a trader by nature, so I'm trying to navigate really quickly and stuff like that. I have long-term positions and stuff like that. However, 20 to 40 days is my swing setup. 20 to 40 days is also what I recommend option traders focus on. Number one, don't touch weeklies. Number two, don't touch weeklies. Number three, don't touch weeklies. If you do those things, you will at least have some chance of success as an options trader. You will lose money playing weekly options. You will lose money playing weekly options. Don't go to play Tesla. Don't go to play all these big names and stuff like that. If you're going to, don't play Tesla. Number one, just don't play Tesla until you are. I'll give you a test. If you want to play Tesla options, you message me on Twitter and say, I want to learn how to play Tesla options. We'll study together. And at the end of 2 weeks, I'll give you a test. If you could pass that test, you have my blessing to go play Tesla options. And I only tell you guys that because listen, like literally, like my saying Tesla is on one candle. You can either become a millionaire or you can become bankrupt. It's true. The movement on Tesla is insane. Just go watch Tesla option chains one day. So I also have 20 to 40 day expirations. That's my swings, things like that. Then I have dollar plays. Okay. So another filter that I want to see is anything for the premium that's under $1. Okay. So the contract price is $1 or less. So that's what some of the filters that I use for the whale alerts. The flow, again, basically, and I don't have it turned on right now because I have the wrong browser pulled up. I just realized. Basically, what I do on this is I am focusing in on ask side. Okay, so that's the, actually, let me get, where am I at? Losing my place. Here we go. Let me just pull this up and we'll just look through it together. Okay, so I watched the flow and the whale alerts all day. That was the two screens I just showed you guys. I have the overall flow set up to show no indices except certain large SPY and triple Q orders. On the flow, you can basically remove tickers that you don't want to see. And so there's certain tickers that I don't care to see at all. So I just remove them from the flow. I don't see them at all. If a large SPY order comes through, if a large triple Q order comes in, I want to see those things. Number 3, I'm also only interested in seeing large orders on the flow based upon volume and premium price. Okay. So volume for me is typically, I like to see at least 100. Okay. That's my number. And then the premium price, I like to see the big orders. Okay. I like to see the 100K orders. You know, I'm not really concerning myself with these little nickel and dime orders. I want to see the big orders. Okay. So that's the other part of my filter. All right. So basically what happens is I'm watching the flow or I'm getting an alert. When an alert fires, okay, when I receive an alert, the next thing that I do, I start to investigate further by checking the overall direction of the stock. And if it's bull or bearish, I typically am long. Okay. I don't necessarily play a lot of puts. I am only really playing calls. Again, that's just my strategy. Not saying I never play puts, but 99% of the time I'm going long. Okay. So my next move after an alert triggers is to see the overall flow of what's going on with the stock that day. I decide if I want to go or not. After I do that, what I do is I go to this tab here. It's called the Intraday Analysis. Basically, this shows you what is happening at the very moment with this ticker. And what it does specifically, my area that I like to watch the most is this right here, the biggest option trades for the day. This gives me, without any filters, it just gives me the biggest option orders. And really quickly, as you're looking over this, you can see easily bearish, 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 bearish. Apple overall today was trending in a bearish direction. Okay. So that would be my next thing. I would go to this intraday analysis and I would see where's the flow going? What's the overall trend? Are people betting more upon a bearish move or a bullish move? Like what's actually happening? So I look at the overall big option trades. Cause again, I only concern myself with the big stuff. I don't care about these little 5, 10 volume. I just don't care. I want to see the big movers. So that's what I spend a lot of time looking at is this. And then I'll scroll down here and I look at the most active chains. Okay. This gives me an overview of, again, the chains, the volume, open interest, and the bid ask spread. This is where I like to see, and you can see that 827, 827, 827, 27, 27. Normally on Fridays, the most active chains are the Friday expirations because there's numerous people like myself that on Fridays, we save all of our pennies throughout the weekend. We play lottos. We play typically, calls that might not be in the money or puts that might not be in the money. We set up triggers for certain levels. If it triggers past a level or if it triggers down below a level, that's an entry signal for us. So that's why you see a lot of times on Fridays, the most active tickers are that day. But this gives you the most active chain and it can show you, what is going on individually as far as with volume and open interest and stuff like that. Is there a substantial amount of difference between volume and open interest? And if there's one that strikes my interest, what I'll do, let's just say, for example, we pull up this 827, 148 call on Apple. So we would go to the 827 and it was the 148, had 129K volume. Okay. That's, like I said, 128,918 was the overall volume on this call. So what I would do then is, if this is something that I would like to be involved with, okay, my next step is to check here. I'll pull over here. This is important. After I'm in the intraday analysis tab, after I've done my research, after I've made a decision if this is a direction that I agree with or if I want to agree with, I am then checking volume, open interest, and the rest of the Greeks. Yes, I don't know, Brad. I think the weekly Tesla near the money options are the way to keep things exciting. Listen, exciting is probably not the word I would use, but I like where your head is at. I like where your head is at. So yeah. So after I've determined that I have some interest in this, I am then going to look at the Greeks. Okay. One of my main concerns with options is what's called delta. Okay. Now, delta, if you're not familiar with it, delta is this number right down here. It's this number that's 93.84. Every option has a delta. Every option has a theta, a delta, all of the Greeks. Okay. Delta is one of the more important ones, right up there with theta. Delta tells you for every dollar that the stock moves, this gives you the amount that the contract should move. It's not a guarantee that it's going to move 93 cents, but it's going to give you a pretty good indication if this is worth your while to get involved with, okay? Because once you go down farther to these out of the money calls, what you can see is that the delta drops dramatically. Oh, wait, this is not good because I'm on closed expirations. But like this delta, for example, is 5.87. So this contract would move 5 cents for every dollar that Apple would move. I don't want to get involved with that. That's tough. So this 148 had a delta of 93. That's a pretty good indication for me that I would enter into this stock. I would play this contract, not exclusively based upon the delta, but the fact that number one, the volume is up there. Number two, the delta confirms. Number three, the other thing that I also want to confirm is setting up to my style. Is there enough days to expiration to make it worth my while? Okay, so you have to remember that when I am taking a play, I'm doing three different things. I'm either scalping it, I'm day trading it, or I'm swinging it. Obviously, on a 0 or 7 day expiration, within 7 day expiration, I'm automatically scalping or day trading. Okay. Obviously, on a contract like this that is expiring today, you only have the choice of scalping it. Okay. So if I look at all this and stuff like that, and I think, yeah, Apple's got a chance to hit that number, the risk reward is there, the volume's there, the delta's going to get me there, the premium is good priced, I'm going to take an entry. I think this is good to go. So I've confirmed everything. Again, if it's under 7 days, typically sets up for a scalp. Anything 20 plus days, I consider it to be a swing. And then that changes a lot of things for me. If I'm swinging something, I'm not necessarily really focused in on delta and theta and stuff like that because I've got a little bit more time to get there. But if it's a scalp, I want to see these numbers hit my numbers right away. I don't have time to wait. So again, if I see everything looks good, I do the risk reward according to my strategy. How much do I want to risk? How many contracts do I want to buy? What's my target number? Blah, blah, blah. I do all of those things. And then finally, what I'll do is I'll chart. Okay. Now, with a stock like Apple, we're just using Apple as an example, but with a stock like Apple, it's on one of my watch lists. I'm looking at it all the time. I'm pretty familiar with what's going on with Apple. Okay. So if I'm seeing a ton of volume in one direction, if I'm seeing a contract that's spiking like crazy, normally it doesn't take me a long time. I'm not in-depth charting for hours and hours and hours. Robert said that in the Apple example, wasn't the analysis telling you a bearish movement? Yes, I didn't play that stock. I was just speaking from the perspective of if I were to enter that one contract. That was the highest volume. So I wanted to show you guys that. You're exactly right. The overall flow of Apple today was bearish. You're exactly correct. That contract I showed specifically because that would be one that I would actually enter in. No problem, buddy. You got it. So with Apple, I'm familiar with the chart. I'm not going to have to spend a lot of time with it. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see, where's my big support and resistance. And I've already, as you can see, I've got it mapped out. So I can see really quickly where my levels are, where it's got to break, where it's got to bounce off of, stuff like that. Is the strike price close to where Apple might get to? How far does Apple have to go to get there? I basically just do a chart analysis. Is there a volume shelf in the way? Is there all of those things? I'm doing charting basically. And again, I'm not spending hours upon hours because sometimes you don't have that. You have to act quickly, but I am doing the due diligence of charting. I'm doing my technical analysis. I'm going through my volume. I'm going through my indicators. I'm going through all of the things that I would normally do on the weekend once I see an alert that interests me. So then basically after that, confirmation from the chart, I'll enter. If everything fits according to my strategy, I enter and I'll take a position and I'm up and running. Now, let me also say this. This is another thing that I like to talk about, okay? Because a lot of people, what they do with unusual volume, somebody said, I'm going to answer this question. Do you like to ever swing weekends or just early to midweek? I will only swing calls over the weekend if they have at least 2 weeks before expiration. So say, for example, if the only calls that I'm holding right now that are active expire in 2 weeks, the 10th. So I hold these through the weekend. However, come next Friday, I'll make a decision if I'm going to cut everything or if it's really in an uptrend. Yeah, I'll hold through a weekend. I typically do not hold calls that are profitable over the weekend. I also don't hold any contracts that have a huge IV over the weekend because you're going to get destroyed on that. I also don't hold calls that are expiring that coming Friday through the weekend because you're dealing with theta. Theta is, if you're not sure what theta is the rate at which your contract decays, because basically what happens is the theta is fighting against the contract going up if the stock is moving up. Think about theta is like running behind the contract and it's pulling it back as it's trying to go because the stock is going up. Theta actually causes it to go down. You could actually have a stock that's got a really high theta and you could have a stock go up overnight, but it only goes up a little bit. That call could actually go down the next day because theta crushes it so much. Again, the IV crushes another thing too. If you get involved with something that's got a huge amount of implied volatility, you're going to get crushed on that. It's going to be destroying your profits. So I don't hold stuff like that. I again, rarely swing weekends. It's got to be a long-term expiration for me to take it through the weekend. That was a really good question. Automatically entering based upon alerts. This is one thing I never recommend doing. Okay. I do not recommend blindly following an unusual volume alert. I do not recommend entering based upon an alert alone. You will lose money. You will lose money. You will lose money. However, there are times that I will jump on a contract immediately upon receiving the alert. Okay. This is only because of a couple of reasons. All right. So let's say, for example, an alert fires, I see it and I immediately place an order and I'm in that stock. Okay. I'm not looking at risk rewards. I'm not looking. I just know, obviously, based upon the premium price, if it's good for me or not. I'm not concerning myself with anything else. I get that unusual volume alert. I immediately place an order. Okay. The reason why I would do that is, number one, that stock alerted is already on my watch list. I am already familiar with the chart. More importantly, I'm already familiar with the stock itself, because I need to know what it does on a normal trading basis. Again, you have to remember that these alerts are coming through because something unusual is going on. There's something different than normal going on. An example that I always give is this: Sandal. Okay. Earlier in the year, Sandal was one of my biggest plays that I've ever had as a trader. I got in on some Sandal calls at like 2 cents. Okay. We got an alert that there was a call sweep on this contract. Again, we put our bids in at 2 cents. We got a ton. I mean, we got hundreds and hundreds of these contracts filled. Sandal, if you're familiar with it, which I'm sure you are, Sandal is normally a volume leader on most days. It normally leads the pack on volume. There needs to be something really interesting going on to cause an unusual volume trigger, because there's so much volume to begin with. Okay. It's also algo traded, which means it's bounced back and forth between computers. So it's traded in a tight range. There's not much unusual activity going on with it. But I received this alert for a Sandal call sweep, and I immediately bought that contract because I knew that if there was that much extra volume on a Sandal call to trigger an unusual volume alert, something is going on. Okay. I don't need to look at the chart. I don't need to look at anything else. I know what Sandal does. I see an unusual volume alert for it. I immediately am jumping in. Then number two, what you have to remember as well with Sandal, because it's algo traded, you're going to get stuck in a very tight range. You're going to have no movement on your contracts. It needs a lot of gas to get it going. When a huge volume order comes in, something's going on. It's going to push it. Okay. It's going to get it past that point to where it needs to break out of the algo system. That's what I always talk about. The algo system, when you are, when you start, and this just comes with screen time, with chart times. I don't claim to know every single ticker. I don't claim to know, like I don't claim to know every stock. I most times I'm charting and I'm doing stuff that I'm trying to investigate. I'm not just blindly following alerts. However, there have been times that I will jump on an alert immediately, only because I know that stock. I know there's something going on with it. Like AMC, for example. AMC's got so much volume. You get an unusual volume alert on it. It doesn't necessarily mean that something's crazy going on. It just means that there's a lot of people buying out of the money calls. You got to get used to that. So, I mean, you got to just know the stocks and stuff like that. That just comes with time. Again, that just comes with screen time. That comes with watch lists. That comes with studying on the weekends and things like that, and just understanding. But that's kind of like an overview of what I'm doing on. This was another thing that I wanted to highlight on Unusual Whales, was a overview of you can look at the high volume tickers and get an idea of who were the biggest movers. SPRT was right here in the middle, but Tesla typically is always number one in volume. Somebody had said earlier, can you chart? We got to do AQST. So we're at 6:01. I'm gonna try to be done here in 10 minutes. An alert is just that. It gets your attention so you can focus on a bit and do some research. I think people get lost on that when they're new. 100% true. Everybody always asks me, like, that's their biggest thing. It's like, well, how do I determine if this is an entry signal or not for me? And there's so much involved with it. I have that document that I just went through. I have it posted on my Twitter page. It's also on the Unusual Whales room. Also, you guys are welcome to grab that. There's so much going on with, because again, another thing that you want to look at too. Let me just show one other thing here. You need to look at intraday. Let's look at Apple. Look at Apple's full breakdown. Unusual Whales gives you this flow breakdown for Apple. So basically, there actually was the call volume was more. It was 68% to 31%. What we did when we looked earlier, the larger orders were actually trending bearish, but the overall ticker itself was trending towards calls. Okay. You can also see breakdown by expiration, whatever. You can go by, it shows you the volume. These are the dates that you can look at, and it'll give you an overall view of each individual ticker without you having to go in and look at all the volume. So if you wanted to see this 1015 strike, or the 1015 contract, it's actually extremely bearish. So the flow towards that contract is bearish. But again, take a look at this one. The 917 contract is bullish. So you have to kind of factor that in. And then as it kind of gets down here, you can see the volume decreases because they're farther away. So you don't want to, like, you don't want to go too far out because you're not going to get accurate data. But this is another good thing to use. And then you can also see breakdown by strike. What strike? The 150 was overall, and actually the 150 was bearish. That's kind of interesting. Ton of volume on it, but it showed up as bearish. A lot of the strikes were typically bearish. There's some other, you can go a little bit farther in depth. This is another section that I use quite a lot. This intraday analysis page, though, is the one that I'm using the most. I wanted to pull up. Did I pull up SPRT? Yeah. See, here's it actually, and again with SPRT, you can see bearish. Now, another thing too, you have to remember, selling a call to open is bearish. Selling a put to open is bullish. So don't forget that. Just because you see call, just because you see put, it doesn't necessarily mean that a call is always bullish, put is always bearish. You have to see how the contract was opened. Okay, that's really important to know. you can actually then begin to look a little bit more further into it. But the intraday analysis page is where I spend a lot of my time investigating things on the flow. Like for example, yeah, I wish I could go back a little bit farther. Let me just try to see if I can find a big one real quick. Yeah, I'd have to dig. We'll dig a little bit more on that. I have, again, I have so much that I want to talk about with this. I have so much information about this platform. We're going to talk about that next. All right, so I have time for we have 6 minutes, so let's let's talk about this real quick. In that case, what should you choose, the overall or the big whales? Good question. That's a good question. Like with Apple, for example, I think they got it right. The overall the overall trend did show us a little bit of downward motion, although it did actually spike a little bit today, very briefly. So it B to free. See you, buddy. Have a good weekend. Thank you for tuning in. The overall, when it comes to something like that, if it's overwhelmingly direction, I am I'm moving on to the next steps in my my DD, like on the list that I was showing you guys. Did I turn it off? I turned it off already. The list that I was working through, I would go into my other steps to determine if this is something that I want to enter in. I don't necessarily focus in on the whales, the big things, as much. However, I do like to see where they're putting their money. I am more concerned with the overall flow and where the volume is and things like that. Again, this just comes with like sitting down and getting experience and things like that. Because some of this stuff just becomes second nature. Like I see things and it's just like, I don't mean to say that in like any like sort of like I'm awesome type of way. I genuinely don't mean that. But there's just times where I just see stuff and I know what I'm going to do. So if I see Apple has a split where it's got the big whales are going bearish and then the rest of the flow is showing bullish, then it just comes down to, it just kind of comes down to the other things. Okay. So it's hard to base your decision just off of that. More times than not, the overall flow is where I am, where I'm going to go. Okay. All right. So we're going to end here. AQST. I promised you guys I would look at AQST. Kenneth Allen's here. Just got home from work, tuning in now. Love it. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Let's go up to AQST. AQST is the ticker that you guys wanted to see, right? We are going to, let's chart it first. Let's see what's going on. All right. Does anybody remember what AQST was at when we last looked at it? It was actually, what day was that? That was the 20th. On the 20th, it was 372. It's actually in a little bit of an uptrend. Okay. Okay. I remember we talked about this for a little while. 380s. Yes, you're right. Perfect. Thank you, Laura. Roberto, thank you. I appreciate that. Concept, thank you. Appreciate that. I am happy to help you guys with any other questions that you have, please. Do you ever use Heiken Ashi candles? I find them so much cleaner and nicer to read. I don't, and you are right. They are clean. They are nice to read, but I do not use them because of part of my strategy is watching, the full candles and things like that. So, all right, AQST. All right, let's look at this real quick. Let's look at the, let's go AQST. Pull the flow up. Okay, so AQST had, actually, let's do this. Let's just look at the ask side first. These are the people that are buying. Okay, these are going to be the bullish. Actually, no, let me go one step back. All right, so another thing that you want to do with when you first are entering into a position, when you are pulling up the flow, why is it showing me there's no trades? I don't have any filters on. AQST. All right, guys. Okay. Call premium, 10.7K. put premium 0, call volume 292, put volume 0. That is going to tell you basically that's going to tell you basically all. Sorry, I didn't have it on the screen, guys. That's going to tell me everything I needed to know almost right away. I am not getting involved in a stock that's only got 292 volume. That's extremely low for me. AQST has only monthlies. The September 17th had 128 on the $5, 39, 30, 10, 30, 16, 18. No volume. Okay. So number one, that's a sign for me that I am. What is AQ? Like, what is actually, let's look at this. AQST, here we pull up Benzinga Pro. AQST averages volume on a 100-day, 548,000. I don't mess with stocks that are under a million average. Okay. So there are, and yeah, you can look at this too. People are just starting to talk about it. It's definitely going to trend up. I think that if you were to look at, there's volume spikes here. Like the volume is definitely trending in the direction. So that's a very good sign. The problem though is you have to identify per your strategy if you're cool holding these contracts and them not, really moving. So like basically, like, now here's a good example of one that would be, this is an in the money. This is actually a deep in the money call. This 250 September 17th, it's got a delta of 91. That's a really good deal. It's only got 6 that were sold today. Not too big of a deal. But it's got low volume. That's your issue is, okay? But just not looking overall at the flow, like the emojis over here are going to tell you, they're going to give you the clearest indication of what's going on. But you can see that there's not a lot of, there's just not a lot of money being spent here, okay? There's just not a lot. Let's go to this one. Let's go back to the intraday analysis tab, and let's take a look at it from. So they don't have a dark pool. There's actually, okay, so this is concerning too for me. This is no big option trades. That means there's no, there would be no unusual alerts. There would be no whale alerts, anything like that. This is just saying there's not a lot of volume on stuff. You can go down here and look at the most active chains, but then again, even with this, I mean, your volume is very, very low, very, very low. So that's the thing that concerns me, again, because I'm trying to follow the volume. There's got to be something on the horizon for this stock, whether it be like an FDA approval, because like this is a biotech, like we talked about before. Yeah, and I mean, this is a really good point. We could honestly be looking at this stock at the perfect time. Like we could be getting in before anybody else. I don't want to necessarily try to say that just because there's low volume, you should not enter. Again, my strategy, I'm primarily scalping, okay? I'm not primarily swinging contracts. So this would not be a setup that I would take. However, though, if I'm reading through the news and I'm seeing that there's something that's on the horizon that might trigger a spike, that definitely is going to get my interest then, okay? So with AQST, again, I think you're seeing basically just volume. You're not seeing anything from an options trading perspective that's going to give you any sort of a direction one way or another, okay? So, again, you're seeing that the volume are real low on these orders. You're seeing the premiums are really, really low. Honestly, even with these, I would not have these even showing up on my flow because the premiums are just so low. I wouldn't even see these coming through. You can go through and investigate per ticker. However, I would not see these on the flow because, I turn that stuff off. But kind of like a quick overview of what the flow is going to show you. Again, these are just like level 2 data. It's showing you all of the orders that are coming through. It's showing you basically the direction. It's showing you the price of the contract. It's showing you the size. It's showing you the overall premiums and things like that. It's literally my favorite resource to use. I stare at it all day long. I absolutely love this. It really helps me out with my trading. Again, don't like there's a great point. Low risk, high reward. There's the potential for a good. Again, I think what you really would do, even just avoiding looking at the flow and stuff like that. Let's just look at the chart. Okay, the chart has a clear bottom. it's got a trend line that it's respecting. Once it gets out of this little section right here, right here, this little area right there, once it can break through that, you have a possibility of seeing something good. The chart looks good. Again, I'm looking at this from it's found a clear bottom, 1, 2, 3, and then a reversal. Okay. This bottom trend line was acting as support all the way back from July 13th. It ran again in May. That was last year, actually. And then it bounced finally in July of this year. And now it's starting its upward trend again. But again, you could see right here, this upper resistance. If you look real closely, you can see that there's still some work that needs to happen here. Okay. It didn't quite break through this upper trend line. Now, this candle right here isn't bad. This one has a pretty substantial move to the top of that, but it's still got to clear it. You want to see the candle close completely over it. Okay. This again, I'm glad you guys mentioned this. Exactly. Big falling wedge that broke. It is clearly reversed. Okay. It is clearly reversed. It is no longer in this huge downtrend. It broke out of that. Its new trend line is pointing us up this way. Again, that is something that, as an options trader exclusively, I am, this would not be something that I would be getting involved with. But again, like that's just my strategy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying the stock's bad. I'm not saying anything about it. I actually do like the chart, but from the flow, the volume, the things like that, this would probably not be something that I would enter unless I saw something that really enticed me for a couple of months out. That's all that I could say. Okay, we're going to stop there. I'm way over time. We should have been done technically 16 minutes ago, but now that it's our show on Fridays, we can kind of do whatever we want on Fridays. So, all right. Listen, let's wrap it up there real quick. I appreciate. Oh, here's another good point. Love these types of plays for my YOLO money. That's what I do on Fridays. I set aside a specific amount of money that I use on Fridays, and I do my lotto plays, and I do that, and it's money that I'm okay losing because it's part of my strategy and stuff like that. If this is something, and I think AQST is something like a stock like this, there's got to be something news-wise that's coming. If it's an FDA approval, if it's earnings or whatever it is, there's got to be something that needs to push this stock that draws people's attention. The algos have to pick up on it and send some volume. That's what's going to happen with a stock like this. So that's all I have. Hey guys. We'll be back next Friday. Again, let me drop the website in the chat so you guys can find me. If you guys are interested in chatting, learning more, just communicating throughout the week, putting together whatever you want to do, tradingground.live is my website. I am very active on Discord. That's where you can find me the most. We have a free Discord channel. You're welcome to join if you would like. Tradinggrounds.live has all the links for my social media pages, my TradingView page. It has a link to our Discord channel, all kinds of stuff. Very active Twitter. I'm on there all day long. If you ever are interested in chatting, please feel free to message me on Discord or on Twitter. I'm happy to answer any questions and happy to guide you and recommend books or strategies, things like that. All I ask that you guys do is just simply promote the stream, promote the content, things like that. Tell your friends about it. Have them come. Everything is free. We're not trying to sell you anything. We are not that way. We're literally just trying to teach others get better at trading. So everybody, I really appreciate it. This was a fantastic show. I'm really excited about tonight, and it definitely delivered. You guys are awesome. Every single week you guys are here and showing up and chat, and we are really developing a big community. So next Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, we will continue because we dig into the options term. So we're going to continue talking about that. We're going to go over the Greeks. We're going to go over volume. We're going to go over all kinds of stuff. I'll have more information put on my Twitter page next week. If you guys have questions, hit me up. If not, have a wonderful weekend, guys, and I will see you next Friday. See you.